Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Thank you to anyone tuning in. Hello, welcome if you're tuning in now. Don't have any viewers yet according to the thing, but alrighty, well, it's a night. It's a night indeed. Sorry about the silence there if anyone had tuned in already. Although it says you I have one viewer now, according to Streamlabs. So welcome. McStabe. Mike a little quiet. Okay, I'm not sure I have a way to really increase that. I can turn down the audio, the music. Let's see, properties. Can I crank this more? Yeah, I'm not sure there's gonna be a way I can crank that up. I'm gonna have to do some sort of thing in something else. Wait, let's get global settings crank it up. It just came from one video to you, so that's my comparison. Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. You may have to crank me up a little bit for tonight. I don't know if there's a way I can... I'm not sure there's a way I can adjust that right now. Anyway, welcome to anyone tuning in. You may have to just crank up my volume. I apologize, but I'm not seeing any setting in Streamlabs to adjust it beyond 100%, and currently I'm sitting at 100%. So, in regular OBS, I was able to actually go beyond the default settings. So I don't know why it's not letting me do that on here. But I'm not seeing the properties here. So, yeah, don't know what's going on there. Maybe I'll have to do some sort of global setting, crank it up, and then... Wait, maybe there's this... No, yeah, I can't find anything. Alrighty, well, welcome to the three of you that are in the stream. It's just a typical night, I'd say. I had some free time, so I decided I would just do a stream. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I had no specific topic that I was working on. I did show this team off in my video today. But I don't really know. I do have some... I am prepping another spreadsheet related to Swallots, and team strength comp. I'm pretty much completely reworking the other one that I made. I'm using all the same base data, but it's going to take some time of compressing all that, or changing the functions and whatnot. Because I came up with a completely new way of reworking it that's a lot easier to read and tells a lot of the same information and more. But currently it's just... The spreadsheet that I was working on currently only works for Greengrass Expert mode, because that's all I was testing it on. I now just have to port over the logic for the other islands. So once that's done, I'll have another tool out for you guys. After, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm... Oh, yeah. Second Pancakes, nice! Another Raichu. Pancakes, I remember, was a Raichu. I made a video on a while back. I think that was one of the first ones I made for that series. But it was a very good Raichu from what I remember, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, nice. Having multiple Raichus, I will tell you, it's one of the easiest species to invest multiple of. And I'm surprised I remember that rather well. Congrats, though. I have multiple Raichus myself, so, and I've invested and haven't looked back. Let's see. Currently, Gigachu sitting at 310. I'm really hoping. I'm really hoping and praying that they add a anytime. I'm really hoping that they add a skill level 70 between now and the Valentine's Day event. It's not guaranteed, but I will say the last time that they updated it, the level cap, was version 2.7.0. As you can see here, 60 to 65. I don't know what the time before that was. Maybe it was 2.5.0. I don't know when it was. I'd have to. It's probably a 0.0 version. 2.4. It wasn't 2.4. Honestly, I'd like them to rebalance EXP gains and add level 75. I think that's asking for a bit much. I think they're only going to bump it up to level 70. I think they're adjusting it by 5 main skills every time. Or not main skill. That would be insane. Adjusting it by 5 levels seems to be their trend. It's supposed to take forever to get candies for things to level it. Is the rains the way to increase XP? I'm missing is the grind just that glacial. I mean, the grind is very slow. Sleep XP is not intended to be the long-term solution. It's a nice thing, but it doesn't really make that big of a difference in the grand scheme of things. It definitely is like candy is the main way to level. I would suggest primarily using things during candy boost functionalities, especially when they're at a lower level. Wait to invest your mons until there is a candy boost. Only consider using non-candy boost on higher level Pokemon, because at that point the Dream Shard cost becomes absurd. Let's see. Here's where they increased it from 55 to 60. So what day was this? 8/1 of 24 versus 4/17 of 25. Okay, I guess I thought it was about 6 months. I was talking about this earlier, but it appears that it's not 6 months. It's more about 8 months. Well, 4/17, it's been about 8 months. We're pretty much due for one now. When did they increase the level cap to 55, I wonder? If we go back about 8 months from there, that one was 8/1, so back to like January of 24. Pfft, version 1.1.0, is this going to be where they increased it? Let's see. There was a lot in version 1.1.0, I will say that. What up? Nothing much. So I feel like that's so much dreaming. Yeah, it might be. They probably never knew that there'd be a random nerd just... Oh! Browsing their things looking for research rank increases. Okay. So 55 was in February of 24. So in February of 24, it increased to 55. Then 6 months later, they increased it by another 5 levels. Then 8 months later, they increased it by another 5 levels. So it was 6 months, 8 months, 8 months. I don't know about before that point, because we don't really have documentation before that point. I know that the level cap at launch was 45, if I'm right. So I don't know when they increased it to 50. It looks like we don't have that documentation, so... 1.10.0 is when we had... And then 2.7. But it looks like about 6 to 8 months is the time frame that we have. And it's been 8 months. Theoretically, though, if they're increasing the duration by 2 months every time, we would have 2 more months. Which would put us into February. I think we're due for a level cap increase between now and the Valentine's event. Of 5 levels. I think 5 levels is what we'll see. And it'll probably be extraordinarily expensive, if I'm completely honest. Which means going back to the team that I had prepped for the event, the Valentine's Day event, we'd be looking at an event bonus of 1.5 times cooking. That's really all they boosted, but that's a huge boost, so... cooking, desserts, drinks. We'd be looking at the Zing Zap Cola, level 65. Now, hopefully they'd also increase that level. Oh, hey, the Bizzler. Thanks for joining on as a member. I never know how to respond to when people give me money, but it is I do very much so appreciate it. It's a warm welcome. AKY, but I feel like we're getting Lechonk for Valentine's 2026. You think they're gonna put ham in the game? Yeah, I don't know. I personally, my vibes, I don't know. There's a lot of Pokemon that it could be. I think Slurpuff's a decent option, or Aromatisse. With the ZA game, play off that hype a little bit, and also that does fit Valentine's. Both of them do. Also, I think Doxbun would be awesome, but that's more of a want than I think reality. I just like Doxbun. I think he's cute and cool. I mean to do that. Nice, nice. Well, glad to have you here now. Okay, so what I'm remembering... I rebuild this team like every time I stream and talk about it, I swear. If I could get Cresselia like 1 level up, that would be huge. But we're looking at this. I was talking about just having the leeks stockpiled. So 60 times 7 is 420 leeks. We want to have the capacity to make 2 of the crafts before even the thing begins. So 70, 40, and can we also stockpile the coffee? Can we make that a thing, or is that gonna be too much? 252. That doesn't put us beyond 800. That is actually within range that I could just stockpile both. That is hilarious to think about. We'll be looking at Amber Canyon as well. And it'd be at... I can't remember if I'm slated to get 70% or 65%. Let's see, so after this week, I'm double checking here. Also, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I do have ideas. I do have a lot of thoughts about this game. It goes through my head a lot. Also, this is very random, but level 63 poison types, very satisfying when they sneaky snack, because I'm pretty certain that their berries, or if you have 35% area bonus, very satisfying when they sneaky snack, because their strength must be at an exact multiple of 100, because every time I see like even hundreds coming back to sneaky snacking. Alright, so it's currently at 35%. Okay, so 40. I think it'll be 65%. Okay. Could be just saying because Lechonk's shiny is pink, has a gender difference in its evolution, and this being clone feels pretty Valentine's to me. I mean, it very much so could be. None of us know. None of us really know what it's going to look like, what the event is going to hold, what Pokemon is going to be pushed and released. Only time will tell. But I just really personally like Doxbun. Anyway. How often are candy boost events generally? Also, sorry my last message was typed so badly. Answer the question, I had those. Thanks. Anytime, Ludolf. How often are candy boost events generally? Well, we do get them They're pretty often. I'd say at least once every other month if I had to just guesstimate based off personal experience. But I haven't actually tracked that number, so take that with a grain of salt. It could be more, could be less, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, if I cut this back to 35, and then increase this to 80 or 90. I mean, do something funny here. You just have to really kind of overshooting on the apples. We're really balanced here. Well, I remember thinking about using Dedenne, like, the entire time, at level 60. For some apples, and then maybe Raichu for more apples, and that's plenty. And then Arbok. Let's see. Always full. I think I have him at level 63. Yeah, it's still not quite there with this. 8.354 million, but I'm hoping to push it a little bit further, maybe with either optimal Dedenne usage. Also, I just realized I pushed really hard for Alolan Ninetales to get... Well, you know what? Maybe... I don't know how much Espeon... Espeon's pulling in quite a bit for sure. Also, this is, like, super tight budgeting. But I could maybe throw in... Let's see. If I was to throw in my Alolan Ninetales instead... I don't think it's going to work because it is weakening Cress. Yeah, it is weakening Cress. Even if I get a Alolan Ninetales to level 65. Although I think that's actually better. 8.48 million? 8.35 million? I don't have it at that point yet, but... yeah. That is a lot more comfortable, though. My Alolan Ninetales is currently level 61. And... Did I get Arbok to level 63? I want to double check that. Yeah, it is level 63. Maybe I can get it to level 64 before then, which would be extra helpful. No pun intended with Alolan Ninetales. Okay. Then Espeon. Espeon's level 62. So it would be a little bit better, but I don't think there's any amount of leveling that I can do to the Espeon to get it to the same level as the Alolan Ninetales. Will rotating Dedenne get you more strength? Theoretically, yes, but I almost actually need to keep Dedenne on for the apples. Like, I'm actually using it for the apples quite considerably, so that's a little bit of a... It puts me in a tough bind. A very tough bind. So, I don't really know if I have anything else that can make the apples, if that makes sense. Because it's a modal list. If I get this guy, level 62. Like, rotating Dedenne could probably do it for me, if I'm honest. If I rotate it with a more generalist Pokemon, like Cresselia, not Cresselia, Espeon, that would probably actually push me beyond the edge if I broke this up a little bit. And as I got the apples and the Tasty Chance procs that I needed, rotated accordingly. But yeah, that would be a little bit difficult. Let's see. If we set a sleep session, let's say it started at 10:30 p.m. and I go to bed. And rotated the Dedenne off for the shorter of the two sessions. That does... I still get enough apples. Okay. And then we put on Actually, Sceptile might be... Alolan Ninetales might not be the best bet. It may actually be better to go with Sceptile. Come to think of it. But anyway, we were talking... Espeon. Because of Crest Synergy. So this is what I'd be actually working with in theory. 8.49. It's like 8.5 something is what the goal is. I think that did push the strength a little bit higher, if I'm right. Oh, did I not make it? Okay, well, we already determined this was worse. So what if I put on my Sceptile instead? Because, like, full-on changing Pokemon could make a bigger difference. I also then would actually make some coffee, but no, Sceptile is... It's not as good as my Alolan Ninetales, which is wild. Wait, does Alolan Ninetales have max level main skill in here? No, it does not. That is a way I could increase the strength a little bit more, actually. Is if I was to give some main skill seeds to Alolan Ninetales, which would be kind of funny. Let's see, how much of a difference would that actually make? If I was to match, that would actually close the difference. Oh, man. That's funny. That's real funny. That would actually do it. 8.58 million. Now, the real question, can I actually do that with... This is something achievable, something that I can actually do, and I've planned this many times. Let's see. Even if I have this, it's hitting Master 19. Sup, VR, briefly resurfacing from the crazy semester. Oh, I remember those days. Very stressful college. I worked really hard and graduated in 3 years with honors, so I could feel you there. I hope it gets easier with college there. But yeah, we just need to stockpile a boatload of coffee and a boatload of leeks. And make Zingzap with some apples and some ginger. And then put main skill seeds into an Alolan Ninetales. I think I actually can get Alolan Ninetales to level 65, so... Let's see. I'm just going to test it here on my phone, because I still have enough candies. I have a lot of candies left over. If I needed to pump them into it, I could and get to level 64. How much would that do for us? 8, 5, 8, 7. That's within range. Currently, it's got main skill level 2, though, which is not enough. Level 3? What main skill level does it need with the level that I can achieve? Level... I think it needs to be main skill level 6. Yeah, main skill level 6. This is a reason for me to invest my Alolan Ninetales with skill seeds. The better question is, though, can I get the down to level 60? Because that's the one thing here that I don't currently have. It's only level 57. Yeah, I don't have this software set up for casting, so I'll just have to show my phone like that. That's only with my other software. I can get to level 59. If I was to use some handy candies, I could get to level 60. So I think this is the team. I've said that with many different teams before, but I think this is my best team, and it actually can do it with levels that I currently have. If I got Arbok just one more level, I'd be sitting a little bit nicer, but I am liking how this looks. Because these are pretty comfortable margins. I'm also going to see if I collect a little bit infrequently, how much does that hurt my productivity? That hurts it a lot, so I'm going to need to go crazy that week. I'm going to have to not have a life and not have a... It's a good thing I don't have a significant other, because I'm sure they'd probably want to distract me during Valentine's. That'd probably be a week that they'd want to, you know, spend some time together. So, hopefully I'm checking enough that this doesn't... Check time doesn't factor in too much. Because, yeah, if I'm going from even just 2 hours to 3 hours, that's a huge difference. Let's see, what's the number where I would need to be at? 1.5? 1 hour? Okay, looks like check time of about 30 minutes. I don't think I'm going to be checking every 30 minutes. I'll be completely honest there. That's a bit extreme. That is very extreme. And yeah, that is about my sleep schedule. Oh well. I'm looking forward to that week. Hopefully some sort of update or something will cause me to get higher strength easier. Like if I just get level 64 on this guy, that immediately helps me a little bit more. I won't need as much... Won't need to be as tight on the check time if I can get a few more levels on the Arbok. And the Alolan Ninetales. That bumps it up to 8.6 million there, so... If I want to be at least at an hour. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Hour and a half. Hour 20 minutes every 80 minutes. I don't know if I can practically do that, but I'll be trying for sure. I'll absolutely be trying on that. So... And if I can get this one more level higher, then maybe I don't need to check it as much. Is there about bag space to hold 3 Clodsires or Pancakes to attempt bigger crits on Sundays? Not with the tolerance that I'm giving myself of stockpiling all the coffee and all the leeks. Maybe if I go throughout the week and well, no, because I'm not running those ingredient specialists. Theoretically, I could maybe push for a different meal type. Maybe go for a bigger meal, but the thing is, like, the meal that I'm making, I have such a good synergistic team for it that I don't think it, like, maybe I could make Clodsire Eclairs and use the milk from my Espeon, but I'm trying to rely on not running ingredient specialists to the best of my ability. You can see here, this entire team, there's not a single ingredient specialist. That's because ingredient specialists have capped potential, whereas berry specialists and certain skill specialists have uncapped potential. I'm looking at things that have the uncapped potential here, because I don't want to cap myself to the potential. I want to make a strong meal, and still be running mostly other stuff. I can't change meal types. I mean, like, the meal that I'm making. I'm setting this up for Zing Zap, which is actually comparatively to some of the bigger meals right now, a much weaker meal. And I could maybe achieve something with... I've run numbers on these ones before, and I just don't have the right teams for them. Because I don't have a great berry specialist that makes... I can make some honey and cacao with my Meganiums, but they're not at a high enough level. My Vikavolt makes coffee, which has bug berry, which is favored berry. So that, interestingly, is also pretty solid. And I guess I could do that with Zing Zap, make the coffee throughout the week, and that might give me a little bit more flexibility. But I think just the fact that I can make the Zing Zap without without running a single ingredient specialist, as long as I do adequate prep, I think is going to be the best way to go about it. Especially with decent productivity increases, or not increases, decent productivity, like, overages on my apples and ginger. I have enough here to hold 1 craft, which means we better get lucky on Monday to get enough apples for that. We may have to use a couple ingredient tickets, but oh well. Maybe pincer for honey as well for eclairs. And once again, any ingredient specialist is a loss of a berry specialist, which I really have to rely on that uncapped potential. And these two having mono apples on each of them, insane, I will say. And that's really where a lot of this strength is coming in, is the fact that these two are contributing in other ways while also giving me apples. You can see that the highest strength productivity on this team is, well, first and foremost, Cresselia, being, you know, Cresselia. And then secondly, the Raichu. Now, I'm interested to know if they do increase the level cap, and they get even Cresselia being level 66. That's also pretty huge. Um, that would help us even further. I wish Cresselia was mono. The cacao and the ginger, like, I wish it was just mono ginger because it would make this a little bit easier, a little more comfortable. Saw Espeon earlier, and Crest makes cacao. IDK, how much space is left for coffee and honey, though? Yeah, and Crest is making cacao, but it's a very small amount of cacao. If you look here, 20 per day. That is nothing compared to the meals that take cacao. It's not going to be supplementing enough that we would have the bag space to stockpile enough ingredients. Oh, this is for during the week. My bad. Yeah. This is for during the week of the event. So, if I can just run this team, I think I can do it. The only concern is, will I be checking the app enough? Because I need to be checking pretty consistently to be at a point that it thinks that I'm actually going to clear the threshold of M20. An hour and a half. If I can get it to 2 hours, that feels... 2.5 hours is where I'd feel comfortable, because in my job, my breaks are usually spaced about 2.5 hours, so... And that's a 300,000 difference, which is rough. I mean, I could prep a Berry Bomb leading into it. Hopefully Berry Bomb could be about 300,000 strength, if I was really dedicated to it. Just attempt Sunday with the bigger meal. Keep Zingzap for Monday through Saturday. Thing is, once again, there's also a concern. I guess I could stockpile. Thing is, the bigger meal isn't necessarily bigger. That puts more prep on me. Because these say 65, but in reality, those meals are actually not that level. And I guess, like, I could level them between now and then, make dedicated teams just for it, and if I ever land desserts. The problem is I would need to land desserts between now and then to level the meal. Which I guess is possible. I could kind of force it, too, prior to. But currently my Clairs are level 36. And my Scary Face Pancakes are, get this, level 0. Or level 1, because there is no level 0 for meals. This should be level 36. So, those are actually less strength than Zingzap right now. I would need to take time to level them. Yeah, 1.5 to 2 hours feels doable, I feel like, to be honest. It is, but like I said, with my job, I know that my breaks usually space 2.5 hours. So I really should try to make it 2.5 hours and to space my breaks how we're supposed to. And sometimes it varies, and that's unfortunate, but I would like it to be that at 2.5 hours I can comfortably reach it. And at 2.5 hours... Wait a minute, I noticed something. This changes things, maybe. Okay, no it doesn't. For some reason, calculation was set to raw only. Did that even make a difference? 8.2 mil versus 8.26 mil. Huge difference there. You should make a guide on how to use Rain on X for real. I did a while ago. I did at some point. I could update it, though, because everything looks different. The new Rain on X is... Honestly, these background settings are the most important details, and a lot of people don't realize it. So much so that... I've seen... Okay, this is a little side tangent, but... Swalot, okay? There have been some suggestions put out there for, like, oh, Swalot. You want to make sure that in order for a Swalot to be worthwhile, I believe the number they give is 110,000 shards per week at level 25 is what I've seen the recommendation is. There's some math that was done for that in the Discord, the Pokemon Sleep Discord. And generally, I think I generally agree with that number. The problem is I disagree with the concept of giving it a number, because they always set it to always max energy, and then they say 110,000 there. I think it really should be compared to this Swalot, but I hate that they give a number, because then that assumes that everyone's using the same background settings, which isn't the case. If you're using their background settings, I think 110,000 is a reasonable number. But if you are to just change some of these settings, like energy, huge thing here. Let's say you don't have a healer. You don't have a healer, then suddenly this one says it produces 90,000. That's a huge difference. So be careful when you see people say, oh, you should make this much strength in a day, or you should make this many procs in a day, or this many procs in a week. Always be questioning what their background settings are, because it makes a big difference in Rain on X. Like, massive difference. And even though their numbers may be accurate, it may not necessarily be what's best for your case. Do you recommend the premium version of Rain on X? I recommend getting ad-free if you have the money to afford doing so. I mean, it really depends on your financial situation. If you can afford it, I think they do a great thing for the community. I support them financially because of that reasoning. Additionally, a lot of their tools, if you're doing more research-focused stuff like I do, I couldn't do what I'm doing without the premium Rain on X. It is practically a business expense for me, if I'm completely honest, with some of the research that I do. A lot of the premium features, though, are more quality of life things that you can get by just fine without premium. So, if you're trying to research the game, figure out deep answers to deeper mechanics, dive really into certain things, then it's absolutely worth it. But generally speaking, I'd say most people only really should be looking to get the ad-free at a minimum if you have the money to afford it. If you don't, filled with ads works, but I've heard that Rain on X with ads is terrible. It's been so long since I've had it, though. I actually had... Fun fact about me, I had premium Rain on X before I had the premium pass in the app. That's how serious I was about min-maxing it. Okay, solve the meal level problem. Yeah. Oh, that with help speed up skill tree only? Oh, yeah. Swallow's insane. Like I said, per week you can get like 110,000 shards. If you have an alright one. Also have to think about health bonus. Yes, that also is a big difference. Because, yeah, health bonus stacks. That can really take this thing into the stratosphere. 140k. Yeah, both my main swallets are energy down, and they hit below 90%, and my healer hasn't triggered in a bit. Yep, I mean, that does make a difference. Energy down is... It's oftentimes not looked at when evaluating Pokemon, but it can make a big difference if you don't have the most reliable of healers, especially if you're like a Cress user. Me being a Cress user, it's something that I do have to think about more often than I feel like most, because the big drawback to Cress is that it is a weaker healer. It is innately a weaker healer. It's the strongest Mon in the game, potentially, if you have one with the great sub-skills, because it voids the requirement for a healer while also giving you tons of berry strength. But at the same time, it is a weaker healer, so you'll have less healing. So if you have an energy recovery down Mon, that actually is a bit of a drawback. In fact, the Dedenne having energy down probably doesn't help my case at all. But fortunately, Dedenne is the least impacted person here by less procs because of diminishing returns. The bigger thing is that my Crest itself has the energy down. If they ever give us Lunar Blessing level 7, that's like huge for my account. I doubt it'll ever happen, but if they did, my goodness, my account would get way stronger. way stronger. So, yeah, I'm glad I looked at it from this framework, though, of being able to just stockpile the leek and coffee requirement. So, because this is definitely more doable. If I just prep a little berry bomb, I'd rather not do it without. I'd rather do it without a berry bomb, because I bragged a lot with Old Gold Power Plant that I did it without a berry bomb, and I'd like to do that again. But I don't need to necessarily. That's more just for making it more impressive sorts of things. But I think I can do it. Just check time of 1.5 to 2 hours is pretty rough. I think hour 40 minutes is where it was at. Well, hopefully level 70 will be out by then. If that's the case, Zingzap will probably level up at least once, maybe twice. That'll give me some extra strength. Maybe I can get Cresselia to level 66, 67. Maybe I can get Alolan Ninetales up there in levels. Just leveling Pokemon is rough in this game. There's a part of me that wishes I transferred area bonus from expert mode to Amber Canyon at the end of last week, but I don't regret it too much because expert bonus itself is valuable and generally more difficult to get, so I do still feel content in keeping my area bonus from last week at expert mode. But going forward, yeah. Oh, hey there, Asa. Glad to have you here. I'm going to put my Pokemon to sleep real quick. I just realized I left my Go++ in the other room. I was going to put it to sleep from here, but I guess that's not going to happen now. First, I'm going to put the sleepers to sleep. Level 75 will hit like crack, but good luck with that. Well, I don't think it'll be level 75. Like I said, even just 1 or 2 levels makes a big difference. Especially when it comes to berry specialists. Like I said, if I could even get the Alolan Ninetales to level... Like, let's see. What would be the difference here? If I'm looking at 2.5 hours check time. Let's say all these Pokemon that are currently capped at level 65. If I could just put them at level 66. Just 1 more level. What difference would that make? I'm sure it would be enough that it's, like, much more comfortable. Okay. I guess not as much as I thought it would be. What if I can get them to 67? 383. I guess it's not quite enough to get it that far. But oh well. 438. I'd probably need to get them to 68. Okay, just for the memes. Level 69. Because sometimes I can be immature. That would do it. I don't think I can get all these Pokemon to that reasonably, though. Because if they're releasing it mid-February, I don't think I have that many Crest Candies to take a Legendary up however many levels that would be. 67. Oh, yeah, I forgot that 67's a meme, also. I'm a Gen Zer, not a Gen Alpha. I'm not that young. Okay. Well, I'm gonna put the stream on a brief pause. You guys get to see my chair for a bit, because I am going to go put the Pokemon to sleep on my Go++. I will be right back. I don't want to miss my bedtime and everything. So, talk to you guys in a minute. I don't have a pause screen, so you just get to see my chair. Okay, I hope chair time was fun. It looks like you guys didn't go too crazy. 69, yeah. Yeah, that was that was the bigger joke. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, I think obviously, like, this one's probably gonna have the least impact. It can probably be around 65. About-ish. That is if I have the Alolan Ninetales skill max. Man, lots of skill seeds of investment, but it might be worth it. Just that little bit of influence. And also, it does make it more confident on the ginger and the apples, because it is likely to hit something that can make either of them. So, hopefully that works out. The Denna hopefully does well. But yeah. I also wanted to talk about a little bit... This is very random, but it's a spreadsheet that I made. I was kind of trying to predict, if they make a charge strength level 8, what would that look like? And I noticed some very interesting stuff to do with, like, the differences between each levels. Charge strength generally goes up, like, about 38% between each level up, but the jump from level 1 to level 2 is the most extreme on all the different variants of it. Then, from levels 3 through 6, it's about 38%, almost completely consistently, on all 5 different types of charge strength, which is bit charge strength M, the fixed version, the variable version, stockpile, and bad dreams, which is Darkrai skill. All of them go up about 38% for those levels, and then at level 7, the charge strength S variants go up about 45%, and then the charge strength M itself goes up about 41%, and for some reason they just hated on Darkrai and made it only go up like 27%. Whereas the other one's got like a huge, like 45 or 41%. So I extrapolate this should actually be 48 high. No, this is the low actually. I wanted to show this off because I don't think I'm going to make a video about it. But it's something that I was just like postulating today. If you were to like assume a lowball estimate for it based off of like other estimates of about 37%, which is what I went by, based off of the level 7. So this is if you increase it by 37%. This is if you increase it by 46%, which is higher than what they've increased it by in the past. Then like the new amounts would be like these numbers. Which I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if they're even going to add a skill level 8 for charge strength. I think if they want those Pokemon to continue to remain relevant, then they're basically going to have to add a skill level 8 eventually. I was just trying to hypothesize, like, okay, at what point would that be? And if they were to add it at level 65, I made a comparison to like a Berry Finding S Arbok versus a Skill Trigger M Help Speed M Golduck. And if they left it right now, then if they released it today, using my lowball figure of 5140 for the variable, for the average, then a theoretical Golduck with main skill level 8 would actually outproduce an Arbok with favored berry. So, like, I don't think they would do that while the level cap is currently level 65. If they did that at level 70, the Arbok would perform about 6.6% better or 18%, depending upon if they use the highball or the lowball estimate. And then at level 75, it would be around the range of difference that we have right now, with the level cap being 65. I believe it's about 15%, which I think that's a healthy amount. Between 10 to 15 is a healthy amount because that's a range where generalists are much better when doing general work, while berry specialists are much better, like significantly enough better, when doing their focused work of having favored berry. So I think that it's like 10 to 15% is a number that we'd want to look for on this range. And I think that that would be around level 75, at least comparing to Arbok to Golduck. And yeah, I don't know if it'll happen, but if they are going to release skill level 8, I think it'll probably be around the time that they release level 75, which may not be for like another year, because it looks like they're taking about 8 months to release new levels, and they only increase it by about 5. But I think we're due for a new one soon. So, probably in January. If I had to guess they're probably going to give us something early year, Last year, a Super Skills Week was right at the start of the year, so I wonder if they'll do that again. But we did just have a Super Skills Week, Part 2, for a different thing. What was that? That was an event, wasn't it? Or was it a special campaign? I actually don't know what the difference between events and special campaigns are. It must have been a special campaign because it's not showing up in events. Yeah, what makes this a special campaign and Christmas an event? I don't know. There's probably something in translation there. Okay, we just had pack portions, and we had Bunch of Berries Part 1, Super Skills Week was back in 7:30, so Part 2. So we'll probably, my prediction, maybe we'll get a Bunch of Berries week in early January, which means we'll probably get a new berry specialist. Kind of hope they would implement main skill level unlocks based on Pokemon levels. I would like to see something like that, because if they made it, and I genuinely think if they were to release main skill level 8, like let's say they would do it tomorrow, they would pretty much, if they wanted the early game to be balanced, they would have to somehow prevent early game people from getting it. Because, like, I don't know, you would have something that's late game viable as early as, like, level 25. I ran some comparisons, and I believe it was a level 8 main skill Golduck with just Skill Trigger M and Help Speed M would be like the same power level as a Berry Finding S, Help Speed M, Help Speed S Raichu with Favored Berry at like level 40 or something like that for strength output. It'd be absurd. And that's if they used my low ball number for strength, not even my high ball number for what the range of potential output the Golduck skill could be, depending on how they would want to go with it. But expect them to increase researcher rank for 2026. Would be surprised if they don't. Yeah, I'm expecting it to be within the next 2 months. I could be wrong on that. I'm hoping it's in the next 2 months, because that would make Valentine's a little bit easier. If I could just push Crest by 1 more level, or Arbok by... Well, Arbok could be pushed by a couple more levels still, but... if we could go a few levels past that, I'd be more comfortable. But I'm kind of hoping for another Bunch of Berries week. It'll probably happen because it's the one of the 3 specialty weeks that we haven't had an opportunity for to have a second one of. We've only had it once with Natu. I think they waited longer on it because they were kind of wondering how to like properly implement the extra berry. Because that is kind of a busted concept if you think about it. So, if they do have it between now and then, I'm going to Amber Canyon because that's just where I'm always going. Unless I really want to hunt whatever the new Pokemon is, but if it's a berry specialist... At this point, I've got my berries pretty rounded out. If we just take a look at my Pokemon box. Let's take a look at my Pokemon. Oh, ice types. Berry specialist. Like, I've got electric, water. Well, the big thing is having at least one for every island. So, Cyan Beach, right here, for Alligator. Top Hollow with my Typhlosion. Snowdrop, I've got plenty covered with my Ninetales, which I should change It's like level 61 now. I'll update that. Ninetales for Snowdrop. Lapis, I'm plenty covered with Meganiums, but also Sceptile, which doesn't appear on here because it's not actually a berry specialist. And Cresselia as well. And then Old Gold Power Plant, Raichu, and Arbok for Amber Canyon. So, I've got every island covered for berry specialists, and pretty well. I think I legitimately have one with helping bonus for every island except for Cyan. Where I have a Gigamon for every island except for Cyan, which is crazy to think about. Wait, no, Top. I don't have one for Top. So, except for the first 2 non-green grass islands. Sad that Crest doesn't get boosted during the Berries week, unless I'm mistaken. It didn't. They only boost the Berry Burst special and Disguise Berry Burst. They don't boost the one that's not actually called Berry Burst, even though it's semi-Berry Burst with Crest. That would be nice, though. I wish it was. That would be even more insane for me. Well, something very interesting. The way Expert Mode interacts with events like this is that it prevents you from getting the event boosts. Like, you can't get one extra ingredient when there's already an event that's causing one extra ingredient on certain types of Pokemon. This event doesn't have anything that strengthens the berries. It increases the number of berries you get, and increases the strength of the main skill, Berry Burst. But it's not actually strengthening the berries. So theoretically, Expert Mode, and I don't know, maybe this was the case back then and I didn't realize it before, but theoretically you could stack the Expert Mode boosts to get the 2.4 times berry strength as well as all of this, which if that's the case, that could lead to some serious strength with berry specialists during that week. Because it could be boosted further. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm interested to see how another bunch of berries week would go. I love that Alolan Vulpix was on the cover of the last one, because I love that Pokemon. And I'm falling in love with it even more now that I have an insane one. It's easily my probably the luckiest catch I've gotten. Let's see, if I update it to level 65, is it the strongest in the box? No, but I'm guessing Config has me at all GPP. Or green... it's looking at for triple type week. That was the last time I used the Pokebox function, apparently. We'll just look at normal. No modifiers included. There we go, that's more like what I would expect. This is a lot closer to what I expect. Anyway, level 61 is what it's actually at. Trying my full Psychic Crest team this week for the first time. Kind of crazy already. Yeah. Full Psychic Crest team is going to be kind of nuts. It's pretty... If you can get Crest's skill max, it can be insane. If I remove this thing here, I must have a meal set. I do. Okay, this is very random. I saw an announcement the other day by the Rain on X people. They got rid of the option to select no meal. They said because that doesn't make any sense, but it was a really nice thing to just be able to click no meal, and then it would just get rid of the meals, influencing the strength of your Pokemon. You can still get rid of it, but it's in a different spot now. Also, event bonus should be turned off for this as well. Is it in playstyle? I don't remember where it was. Cooking mode. Yeah, it's in here. You have to click as filler. They moved it, and I use that all the time. I like to evaluate things in a white room. And they don't make that... Maybe I'm just not a big fan of change, but... Being able to select no meal was very convenient. But anyway. I also miss no meal. I mean, it's still there. It's just in a different spot. They just moved it to here, and you have to click as filler. It's the same thing, but they just moved it. Greetings from Germany, 6 a.m. over here. Wow, you're up early. At least by my standards. I know by some people's standards that's average. I would be insane to a lot of people with how late I stay up on the regular. I am a night owl. Through and through. I work an evening shift, so makes it easy. But yeah, you can see here, it doesn't even have helping bonus. And I have help bonus stacks set to neutral, I believe. Do I? Wow, we actually ran through an entire... Yeah, I have help bonus stacks set to null. My Crest without help bonus stacks still comes in as my strongest Pokemon. If that gives any idea how good Crest can be. The problem is this does assume a full Psychic Berry team of different species, which is not usually the case with Crest. So it's not actually that strong. But it's, yeah. I have to admit that I'm actually still awake. Okay, that's insane even for my standards. I will say that. You surpassed even my standards for staying up way too insanely late. That's not even going to sleep late at night. That's going to sleep early in the morning. Yeah. Also, should I update some of my Pokemon's levels? I should probably do that, because I haven't done that in a while. Like, I know I'm pretty certain my Sceptile's a different level now. Oh, it's only level 61. Okay, well that's still better. This is level 61. Espeon, I just talked about, was level 62. Gengar is level 64. I just saw that the other day. Walreign's level 63, I believe now. Yes, he is. And this Arbok is level 63. Which still makes it slightly worse than my Feraligatr. But if we have, if we're at the Amber Canyon, then it's a lot better. Better than even Crest with a full Psychic team. So, that's where its value comes in. The Arbok. Very huge. It should also probably always be set to always full, but there's no way to just default that to a single Pokemon. Because very rarely will I be running Arbok and not be sneaky snacking it. This guy's level 62. My chosen boy. Where is he? He should be level 55. Okay, he was level 54. That doesn't make a big difference. This guy's level 62. Also, I don't think I actually input my Titan from the other day. Or I did. But I inputted at the wrong level because I input it as a Titan. Haven't been really watching your videos lately. Did you catch a good avocado farmer? Yes, I did. I caught a pretty decent Flygon. I can show it in a minute here. Well, not actually show it in game, but I do want to make sure that's marked shiny. Because it is cool to see the shiny. Did that save? It didn't save. There we go. Yeah, okay, let's see. Where is my, let's see. We'll go into production comparison and show my, Flygon. Because I actually forgot what my Flygon stats were. I haven't really invested it much lately. Because I've been working on other projects. Here it is. Yeah, it's decent. It's got... I feel like I had something better. Did I not save my other one? I feel like this is one of them that I caught. Yeah, I have a better one. Ignore that. That's one that I caught earlier. That's something I need to add to my box. Let's go back to the box. Because I need to add something here. Flygon. I don't have that other one at level 60. It's just sitting in my box, uninvested. It's got Help Bonus, it's got Inventory S, Ingredient Finding M, Ingredient Finding S, Inventory M. And then Lonely Nature. There we go. He's now in my box. So, here's that guy. When I get him to level 60, Help Bonus with... That's per week. Help bonus with 84 avocados. By the way, I'm contemplating whether or not I should devote the bulk of my resources to my Psychic team for the next 6 months at least. It can potentially reach M20 Lapis consistently without good camp ticket. That is absurd. I believe it, but that is absurd. That's what we call a really solid gimmick, but hey, amazing for event weeks that are available at Lapis. Also, IDK of Lapis will become obsolete soon. I don't think any of the islands will ever become obsolete, and even if it does, theoretically, I mean, hopefully Lapis Expert Mode will use the same berries. We don't know how the other islands' Expert Modes will work. I guess we'll probably find out how that'll work once Cyan Beach gets an Expert Mode, and if it's the case that the berries are fixed, then that's still very, very useful for the Expert Mode variant of it when it comes out. Potentially reach... Oh, I haven't been lucky at all, unfortunately. I've had a pretty good last couple, like, new releases. In the holiday event, I called a holiday Spheal. This guy, you can see that's pretty solid sub skills. Although he's wrong. In fact, that's something else I need to correct in my box, because that makes a big difference, especially on certain teams. So let me locate him real quick. Because it's not AAA, it's ABB. But I'm actually happy that it's ABB. It's better that way for me. Lapis Expert, playing the longest game ever. Hey, that's not the longest. Longest would be Amber Canyon Expert. And we don't even know when the next island's going to be, if there will be a next island. Do you guys think there will be a next island? And if there is, what do you think it'll be? I have no clue. I could see the case that they may actually stop making new islands, at least for the time being. But I think that also limits their release of new Pokemon. So, I don't know. Yeah. I got lucky with this Flygon, got lucky with this Holiday Spheal. Also with Cetitan, as I was just showing off there. I have this shiny. It doesn't look amazing because it's AAC or B. No, that's the C ingredient. But when you actually run calculations on this thing, it's pretty useful because it can make most of the ingredients. You can make like half the different ingredients required for the roleplay Pumpkaboo Stew, which once I'm past my Valentine's Day goal, that's my next mission, is leveling that team. Because then I have a good team for desserts, a good team for curries. That no matter where I take them, it's just like I can just set and forget. I want to have something that's easy for every meal type. That like I can just get a core of like 3 Pokemon that make the meal, 1 slot for berry specialist, and then healer. We do a video about 2026 predictions about the game. Probably not. I'm pretty busy right now. I've got a couple things on my plate that I want to get done first, before I would consider anything like that. I want to get the Legendary Beast done. I said I was trying to get that out by the end of the year, the Legendary Beast Crestminster. I don't know if that's going to happen by end of year. It might be within a week into the next year, but then I have a lot of Crestminsters I want to work through that are backstocked. I've said the ones that I released will be done. Like, I will get these ones done. There are 4 that I will do for sure. So, that's one thing on my plate. Additionally, tier list video is probably going to be early January. We'll see. Do you think that there will ever be Expert Mode exclusive Pokemon? I don't think so, because the devs want to entice new players to come to the game. And what better way to entice new players to come to the game than releasing new Pokemon they can come and catch right away? If they were to release a Pokemon and then they can't catch and use them till years into playing it, that doesn't really entice new players. From a business standpoint, making island exclusives doesn't really make much sense for the later islands. I do love that they released them earlier on by making it available during their release week. That does make things a little bit easier for new players, but oh well. Is the best level strat to just farm shards and use the DBL EXP events? Is that Candy Boost? Seems to be easier to grind shards than candies. Just worry about how many DBL EXP events other than end of year. I mean, oh, double EXP events. I mean, long-term candies are they're the bigger, I'd say they're the bigger bottleneck, because there are ways to reliably increase Dream Shard output. There aren't as many ways to reliably increase candy output. So ultimately, like, trying to boom your Dream Shard economy as much as possible is the late game. Come play our game, we have Mewtwo. Absolutely. I hope there be new islands. They can always mix the berries around, or they can do them islands like a starter island, fire, water, electric. I would love to see more islands. My dream for the game is that long term we at the very least get a dozen islands. Just so that every single berry specialist feels a little bit unique compared to the next. Because, like, right now, Meganium and Primeape are basically the same Pokemon. Like, there's very few differences between them, because functionally they only ever differ at Greengrass. And how often do you go to Greengrass is the question. Greengrass or Greengrass Expert. They're both pretty rare. There's a lot more going to Greengrass Expert right now, but I think that's only because there aren't other islands expert modes. I think once other islands get expert modes, we're not going to be going to Greengrass Expert as much. So, long term, if they make it that way, then they're just going to feel the same. Because functionally, like I said, Meganium and Primeape are practically the same Pokemon. And I would love to see that Primeape has another island that doesn't have Grassberry, so that it can be unique in having both those islands covered. Increasing candies for a sleep research would be an interesting incense. Yeah, that should be... I'm surprised that's not a thing. That'd be a very easy thing for them to sell. And a very interesting thing for us to spend our diamonds on as well, which would, in theory, increase revenue for them. Best you can do for candy is focus on area bonus on the islands with the corresponding spawns. Greengrass Expert is going to be a long-term staple for events like Christmas. Yeah, any Dream Shard week as well. You just get so many more Dream Shards from it. I think that it's definitely the play long-term for push strength on day 1, day 2, maybe. And then run your Dream Shard Mons. Even if you lose like 10% productivity on your Dream Shard Mons, you're gaining like... You're like doubling or tripling your output from the sleep style conversion, Snorlax strength conversion. So, but candy is difficult because also here's a real interesting thing. If we take a look at sleep research and take a look at map rewards. If I was to just do like a quick comparison of Greengrass to Greengrass Experts here, I'm not going to bother with all these settings. I'm just going to click calculate after saying balanced. If we take a look at the candy output, from what I've heard in the past, Greengrass Expert, I think, does worse. Yeah, that's looking to be true based off these initial numbers. I guess at the much, much higher Snorlax strength, maybe not, but it takes a really high Snorlax strength for it to cross over before you even break even. And that's compared to Greengrass. I believe the other islands are better for candy, so yeah, it does get better, but man, it takes like 5 million Snorlax strength. How often are you reaching 5 million Snorlax strength? Right now, not so much. It may be better later on when we get more area bonus, but they're increasing that cap very, very, very slowly. Primeape should have a huge bonus in the future with Annihilape, right? Hopefully. I don't know if they'll ever add Annihilape. I feel like if they were going to add it, they would have added it by now. They've had multiple Halloween opportunities, and a lot of people want it. Would love new islands just for the music itself. Absolutely. The island music is great. And even after other expert islands are introduced, since those events are Greengrass only. Yeah, that's true. But they're also once, maybe twice a year. Maybe 3 times. Well, the biggest one is going to be Christmas. And that's only once a year. Granted, it's very important once a year. Once you get your area bonus up, I feel like there's not going to be too much of a need to go back there, other than for Christmas. That's about it. Maybe Halloween. Even that I'd see it difficult to go to, because you'd probably be able to go to one of the other expert areas. There aren't that many events that are Greengrass only and Greengrass Expert only. There are a few, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be few and far between. Annihilate before 2050, trust. I can see many of us being on other islands expert by next Christmas. Well, but Christmas is usually Greengrass only, so that one is one where we would go to Greengrass Expert. Every year I'm reminded of how good the Christmas music is. The Christmas music is really good. So is the holiday music. Or not the holiday, we already said that. The Halloween being based on Lavender Town. And I used to hate it The first time that I ever heard it, I really hated it. But the anniversary music has come to grow on me. um, Literally the very first time I ever heard it, I was like, what is this atrocity? But it kind of grew on me after hearing it a bunch this last year, and I think it's also pretty solid now. My mind has changed on it. Don't ever say that I'm not willing to listen to other viewpoints on things. I'm able to hear things out. Oh, but also, yeah, I guess mini channel announcement here. I do intend to do another, I'm looking at trying to schedule the next tier list video. I probably want to do it before whatever the next Pokemon release is. And it'll probably be on a Monday or... Yeah, no, it'll most likely be on a Monday night. I'll say that. Entei music slaps. Actually, all the Legendary Beast music slaps. But yeah. My next tier list video is probably going to be streamed on a Monday night. So, between now and whenever the next event to release another Pokemon is, because I don't want to deal with new Pokemon in the tier list video, because I want to have time to really see its role in the meta and contemplate that. I'll be there for Skeledirge. Skeledirge. I'm most interested to... And genuinely, I don't know where I'm going to place it, but I know my opinions on things have changed. I can guarantee that my placement of Dream Shard Magnet Pokemon is going to be very different than what it was before. Maybe I'm going to change a little bit how I scale things, and maybe that might result in certain Pokemon, like Skeledirge, ending up at a different place. Sceptile has to be number 1, surely. If I had to just say right now, I'm going to tell you right now, Cress is probably going to be number 1, because they did... If you catch a really, really good one, it is most overtuned, in my opinion, of any Pokemon in the game, because it's basically a combination of the two best type of Pokemon in the game, being Berry Burst and Energy for Everyone. Like, Energy for Everyone's the best support. Berry Burst is the best raw strength. And they took those two concepts and mashed it into one, and made it something that does like 0.75 times of each job. But still, 0.75 times of the two strongest jobs at once is still like 1.5 Pokemon's value, and it still makes it insane. So, fundamentally, I think unless they release another Legendary that does something like that, combining two of the strongest concepts in the game, I'm going to spoil things. Crest is probably just going to always be the strongest on my tier lists. They would have to release something very overtuned for it to change. But that's just my opinions on things right now. It's very difficult to place things otherwise. And interestingly, I will say this. Our first Holiday Mon to get out of like the lower ranks is going to appear this time around. Because they did something crazy with Holiday's Feel. So, I'm pretty excited for this time around tier list. Because I have a lot more things to think through that I didn't have in the past. Also, this is very random, but I love Cetitan's Shiny. Cetitan's Shiny is amazing, and I'm so glad that I caught a shiny one that I can actually build a team around. It'll take time, though. It'll definitely take some time. Wait for them to add a new useful skill, maybe like a small speed or frequency boost. They don't like to play around with frequency all that much. They don't like to toy around with it because frequency is a very... You touch it too much and you can very easily break things. I think they could make it fun. Could make it interesting if they had something that impacted frequency. But just look at how impactful health bonus is. The 5% decrease to frequency. 5% makes a huge difference. Quite happy with how they introduced Holiday's Feel. Sets a great precedent. Absolutely. Going forward, it's exciting to see that one of the Holiday Mons is desirable for more than just people trying to work with a niche. So it's pretty cool to see. Although it is unfortunate because it means that I really wish they gave us just a 5-pip Tasty Chance Mon that was available year-round. The fact that we don't have one is a bit absurd. And now that they gave us Holiday Spiel as a 5-pip Tasty Chance Mon, it feels less likely that we're going to get one outside of that. Outside of Holiday Spiel. And I'd prefer to see it something that would be available year-round as an alternative to Dedenne. Because once we have a 5-pip Tasty Chance Mon option, then suddenly the Dedenne hunt that sucks because it is 16-pip is no longer necessary and is only out there for those that really, really want the best. And if that's something that you want to go for, then go for it. But right now, the fact that everyone is kind of subjected to it, unless you got lucky during Christmas, which you could have gotten lucky during Christmas, and that is a thing now. But the fact that it's a 16-pip Pokemon is still the only year-round available option for Tasty Chance is a bit annoying. Anyway, I know it's a little bit earlier than usual, but I'm getting a little bit tired. I have to be up a little bit early tomorrow morning. Not super early, but early enough that I do still want to get a good night's rest. So I think I'm going to end the stream off here. Thank you all for tuning in throughout the duration of the stream. It's been a nice night chatting it up, answering any questions. I hope that I'll have a bunch of you next time that I do one of these impromptu streams, or during the tier lifts live stream. I'm excited for that whenever I do get around to that. But anyway, thanks for all tuning in. I hope you have